Hi God, thanks for the shine. Seriously. Okay, so this is what's happening right now. So I was resting, right, and then my eyes were closed, and then bing, they just opened up, right, because I've just been thinking. I've been doing a lot of thinking, right, because it seems like God's children are bugging out again. God's children always tend to bug out. I don't know why. I don't know why. They just do that from time to time, it seems like, right? Here, let me show you what was on my mind, right? Here, this is fun, right? This is going to be a fun bit. Here, check this out. Boom. You see that right there? Right. Okay. So let me lock that down. Lock that down. Okay, so this one is coming from a news source, right? And it's saying Kanye, which he changed his name just to Ye, right? So Ye's Twitter account locked after offensive tweet, right? So allegedly this man said something that some people didn't like, right? So the things that he said were, he was just like, yo, how can I be this if we're that? That's basically it, right? And then you fill in the blanks with the words, right? Because the man was just saying words, he was just talking about words, right? So he said, can I find it? I think I can find it. Yeah, here, this is what he said. I'll just read the article headline right here. He says, the funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball, whatever. I'm not even going to read that, right? But this is what he says. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic. Semitic, okay? Because, air quotes here, black people, so-called black people, are actually Jew. Okay? So this is gonna be a fun track right here, right? Because it's just like, like God's children, man, you guys are bugging out. Seriously, right? So here, let me see. I got 1, 2, 3. I have 3 bits. 3 bits there. Plus I have I'm just going to do a flow, right? Because first I just want to set it off by let me just do this first, right? So I got to do this right here. This is the power of the Psalms, right? So I already said, hi, God, thanks for the shine. Seriously, right? And then I like this Psalm right here, right? This Psalm is 11977, Jod, right? This one says right here, let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. Seriously, I love God's law because it's all about love, man. Okay, so here we go. Check this one out right here too, right? So here goes the formula. This is just another one of the bits for the formula for the science of getting rich, right? And then we want to talk about, well, we like this one right here, right? We like this one right here, right? Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created, okay? So I was thinking about things, and I was like, I wish to create something, right? So then I was wishing to create this show right here, this flow, right? So here we go. I'm going to show you what's up right here, right? This is what I've been doing all morning, right? You see that right there? Okay, that's the front, and you see that right there? That's the back. Okay, so this is what we wrote down right here for the quest, bit, script, word, go, show, flow. Okay, so we wrote down foundations for Revelation 2:27. There's no place like home. Okay, and this is what 22:7 says. This is what Jesus said. Thank you, Jesus. Right, he said, behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecies of this book. What? Super simple. What book is he talking about? This book. Right? So Jesus is talking about the Holy Bible, man. Scary simple, right? So we were hanging out in the Holy Bible because we were just like, we were thinking about God's children, right? Because God's children are bugging out over a word, right? So what they're doing is that they're saying that this man cannot speak because he's saying a specific word. And then this word that he's saying, some people don't like what that word means, right? So I don't even know if they don't like what it means, or they just don't like the fact that, there's someone saying the word, right? So we're all about the word, because in the beginning was the word was God, and God was the word, man. Simple, right? Hold on, let me put some lip balm on, right? I love my Burt's Beeswax, man. This one, it just feels good. Yeah, it's got that minty bit too, right? So we wrote down the word, right? And then what we did was what Jesus said, right? Is that we're keeping the sayings or the prophecies in the book, man. So what does the book say? What does the Bible say? That's all we focus on, man, right? So that's what we do now. So the law comes from the Bible, right? Simple, right? And then all law hangs from love, simple, right? We know that because that's what Jesus said, right? So now we're looking at it like this, because we're saying, okay, let's go ahead and do some what we call genealogy, right? So before we did the genealogy, we had to go in and we had to go into the book, and we had to look at the words, right? So we went in and then we checked out the words, and then this is what we got flowing right here, right? Because we're focusing on one word, right? One word called Jew, right? Because everybody's tripping about the Jew right now, right? My nose is itching, right? So everybody's tripping out about the word Jew, right? And then the reason why I'm saying this is because I was watching the screen yesterday, and then there was other people who were chattering on the screen, and they were just like, what is Kanye talking about, right? They were like, what is he talking about? Like, there was this one man, who has a lot of people who watch him, and then he was saying like, I don't know if that's correct, right? Something like that, right? His laugh was just funny. Hold on, let me take a sip, right? This is milk and honey. So good, so good. Okay, right, so I'm drinking milk and honey right now in the land of milk and honey, right? So then there was a man who was tripping out, and then he was like, I've never heard that before, right? And then there was also a woman who was sort of kind of saying the same thing, because she was giving her report on the news, right? And then for some strange reason, this man makes the news, right? He makes the news because that's just the world that we live in, right? So here we go. We're just going to show you what's up with the words right now, man, because that's what we do, God. We love this, man. This is fun, right? Because so the reason why we stick with this one is because of it's what we are, right? It's what we are. We know where we come from. We come from God, man. That's it. God created man, right? God created man, woman, child, the people. Done. Right? For us, it's really simple, right? We don't look at all these other titles, right? People love titles. They just love the titles, right? Like black people is a title, Jewish people is a title, right? So all of these terms that you guys all use, they're titles, right? If you just understand that you are a child of God, you're going to be free, man. You're going to be so much free. It's just so much fun, right? But I know that's difficult because a lot of people like to, they like to come from certain crews and things like that, because that's just what they like to do, right? So check this out, right? I'm going to show you a crew right here. Okay, so here goes Genesis 1:1, right? Genesis 11. The headline on this one was one language in the world, okay? There was one language in the world at this time. So here goes 11:10. The generations of Shem, S-H-E-M, the ancestors or the ancestor of Abram, A-B-R-A-M, right? Okay, here we go. Let's keep it going. So this is, here, I'm going to show you where I got it from. I got it from the Bible, okay? Right, so here goes Genesis 1:12, right? God calls Abram, right? Blesses him with a promise of Christ. Okay? Remember that. Here, I got to show you that one right here. Let me see. I'm going to find it because I like to get this one. Right? So that one is Genesis 12, right? And then it says God promises, right? Because, God's always hooking up promises and things like that. And then there's 13. And then, all right, boom. There we go. Boom. 12. That's 11. And there we go. 12. Okay. Here, let me show you. You see that? Right there. Right there. Okay. So it says God calls Abraham, blesses him with the promise of Christ, man. Right? So that's what he did. So God, that's what God said. He said, I'm gonna show you what's up. Right? And then here we go. And then we just scroll down and then we look at Genesis 17. Right? We're showing you a line right now. Right? God renews the covenant with Abraham, right? So he was like, here, we're going to sign this contract up again, man, because, it's like every time God tries to hook up the people always backslide, right? But then, there's always going to be some people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then God's going to be like, all right, let's re-sign that contract again, man, right? He's always negotiating with his children. It's so much fun, right? Here goes Genesis 17:5. Headline, right? Neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, right? But thy name shall be Abraham, or for modern people, they call it Abraham, right? Abraham, right? For a father of many nations have I made thee. Okay, so God now flipped Abraham's name to Abraham, right? And now Abraham is going to be the father of many nations, all right? Follow me, right? And then if you know that these are the generations of Shem, okay? Remember that, all right? So we're tracking everything from Shem right now, S-H-E-M. Okay, so we got Shem and then we have Abraham, right? Okay, let's keep it going. So here goes Abraham's offspring, right? This is Genesis 16:15, right? So we had to go back up one, right? So before God flipped his name to Abraham, right, he was Abram. And then Abram hooked up with Hagar, right? Hagar, right? And then Hagar bears a son who is named Ishmael, right? Remember that, Mael, Ishmael, right? So Hagar births the offspring of Abram, Ishmael. Okay, let's keep it going. Now we're going to go track back up to 17:15, right? So we're still in Genesis, okay? We're building. So we have Sarai's, Sarai, or Sarai, Sarai, because I guess most people were going to say it in a different way. So Sarai's name is changed and she is blessed, right? So now we got another name change, okay? And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah. Most moderns say Sarah, right? But Sarah shall be her name, or shall be her name be. Okay, boom, done. And then 16, and I will bless her, which means he will bless Sarai, or Sarah, and give thee a son also of her. Okay, so Sarah is going to get a son too. So Hagar has a son, and now Sarah is going to get a son, right? Yea, or ye, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Okay, boom, let's keep it going. Now we're going to go to Genesis 21. Okay, now we fast forward in time, and now we're going to go to Isaac. Isaac is born. Genesis 21. Isaac is born. 21:4. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days, right? 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Okay, so this is a marker, right? So Abraham circumcised his son Isaac at 8 days old. Okay, now let's keep it going. Genesis 17:25. And Ishmael, Ishmael, his son, 13 years old, said unto, or here we go, rewind. Genesis 17, chapter 17, verse 25. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. Okay, so Ishmael, which is the offspring of Abraham and Hagar, right? Then they had a son, and that The son's name was Ismael, right? And then Ismael was circumcised as 13, right? So boom, that's a marker, right? So now you know that there's a group of people that, they always get circumcised at around the age of 13, right? Okay, so we got that good. Then you got another group of people who are coming from Isaac, and, and they're getting circumcised, being like 8 days, so after they're born, 8 days, roll through, boom, they're going to go snip, 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 right? So you got some that are circumcised when they're little babies, and then you got some that are circumcised before they become teenagers or at preteen, 13, right? So that's what God said. That was the command, right? So now there's a track that you can always follow, right? Is that those of Isaac, right? So the offspring of Isaac, which are the offspring of Abraham, right? They all get circumcised around 8 days, and then you got the other offspring of Abraham or Abraham, which come from Hagar, right? Which is Ishmael, right? And then Ishmael and all his crew, they get circumcised around 13 years of old, right? So boom, we're good there, right? So now check this out. This is Genesis 25, right? Now Rebecca, Rebbe or Rebecca, whatever, right? She gives birth to Esau and Jacob or Jacob, right? This is Genesis 25, right? But remember, yeah. Then you got 23. Is that 23? Hold on, let me go back. I gotta check this one out. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote down the 23. Genesis. Yeah. Oh, that's why. Yeah, Genesis 25, verse 23. That's what I was supposed to do. Okay, so then this is still Genesis 25, and then we go to verse 23 in Genesis 25, right? So this is after Rebecca, gives birth to twins. Remember that, Esau and Jacob, right? So verse 23 says, and the Lord said unto her, who? To Rebecca, right? Excuse me. 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 manner of people shall be separated from the bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Twins, okay? And then you got verse 25 says, first came Esau, so Esau came first, right? And then 26 is second came Jacob, right? Jacob means the one who takes the hill. So the twin, Jacob was riding out on Esau's hill, right? So that's just how it happened, right? So this is fun, right? So now you know what the timeline goes like this, right? Is that these are the generations of Shem, the ancestor of Abraham, right? Abraham, right? So Shem birthed Abraham or Abraham, right? And then Abraham then birthed a whole bunch of other people, right? So all of those other people, they all have titles and they all have names. And then those were the people, that like the man Ye was talking about, right? And then the reason being is I'm going to show you what these words mean, right? So when you check this out right here, right, I'm going to show you, right? You see that? Check this out. See that? Boom, white balance. That says Jacob, right? Or Jacob. Right, Jacob, right? And then Jacob means literally, one that takes the hill or, heel, okay? And then we got Esau, right? Esau, right? Check this out. Let me show you right there. Boom, you see that? Boom, I do that because I like to do that PCAPs, right? So that way we know where we're coming from, right? Esau is a biblical name of Isaac and Rebecca, elder twin, who sold his birthright to his brother Jacob for a mess of pottage, right? And that's in Genesis 25. Hence used symbolically for one who prefers present advantage to permanent rights or interests, right? But then when you go back right here, right? So boom, you see that? Boom, Jacob, right? So we're still hanging out with Jacob now. Jacob, right? Old Testament patriarch, son of Isaac and Rebecca. See, they spell Rebecca in here. And father of the founder of the founders of the 12 tribes, right? You know, from late Latin, Jacobus, right? You know, from Greek, Jacobus, from Hebrew, Yahu, I can't even say that one. Literally, one who takes the hill, right? You know, one who takes the hill, right? You know, so let's keep it going, right? Remember this, right? You know, so you got Jacob and you have Esau, right? Or Jacob and Esau, right? You know, and then right here, see this one? Boom, you see that one? That one says Jew. Okay, boom. Boom, let's lock that one down. All right, cool there. All right, Jew, and ancient and modern, right? And then if you track this one down, Jew or a Jew is from Judah or Judah, right? Judah, right? Literally celebrated. Remember that, celebrated. So that's what, so whenever you hear the word Jew, right, you must think of Judah, because Judah means celebrated, right? All right, so let's keep it going, right? You know, that's what it means, celebrated, okay? Doesn't mean anything else, it just means celebrated, right? You know, so then, you know, what we have to do, right, because it's all about the Hebrew, right? You know, because everybody's like, Hebrew. So we're like, okay, well, what's the Hebrew, right? So check this out, right? Boom, you see that right there? Boom, Hebrew, okay, Hebrew. Right, so lock that down. So Hebrew, this is a fun word, right? Because it tracks back right here. An Israelite, right? An Israelite, literally from one from the other side, right? So Hebrew means one from the other side, right? You know, so it also means Israelite, an Israelite, right? You know, so a Hebrew is an Israelite, a Jew is celebrated. Remember that. These are what the words mean, man. You know, so once you know what these words mean, you know, you're going to be free, okay? You don't have to think about it as being a title to some type of people. Remember that, right? You know, so Hebrew means, what I say, one from the other side, and then Jew means celebrated. Okay, let's keep it going, right? And then we had to go to right here. Boom, check this out. You see that? That one says Israelite, right? Israelite, right? You know, so you always hear all these people talking about Israelite. You know, so Israelite, when you track that one, it says a Jew, right? Which means celebrated, right? You know, one of the people of ancient Israel, right? You know, a descendant of Israel, or Jacob, right? Jacob. Remember that, right? So Jacob's name was changed to Israel. That's how that flows, man. You know, so you got a whole group of people out there, you know, whose original name came from Jacob, and Jacob, you know, came from Abraham, right? And Abraham came from Shem, okay? So you got Shem, right? And then you got Abraham, and then you got, then you got Isaac, right? And then from Isaac, you got Jacob, okay? And then from Jacob, you got a whole bunch of other people, okay? You know, but then just know that that's the track, man. You know, so then let's keep it going, right? You know, so then when you look at Israel, you know, like, oh my God, it has Israel in it, right? So check this one out, right? Boom, Israel, right? You know, so you have to break these words up, man. You know, Israel, right? Al. Whenever you see the last letter EL in there, you just know that has to deal with God, okay? So when you track this one down, Israel means he fought or contended God. That's it, God, right? You know, so he fought or contended God. Okay, done. That's what that word means, man. You know, so then you got the people who are where it's like, yo, he fought or contended God, Israel, right? You know, and then you have the Israelite, right, which is a Hebrew, right? You know, and the Hebrew just means someone from the other side, right? You know, so you got someone from the other side, and you got someone who contends with God, and then you got to celebrate it. Okay, remember that, right? It's really simple, right? You know, and then they all came from someone who grabbed the hill, right? You know, who came out from someone who came out first, right? You know, and then when you remember what it was saying right here, right? It was saying, this one is just a fun bit right here. It said, yeah, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. Okay, 2 nations were in Rebekah's womb, right? You know, 2 manner of people shall be separated from the bowels, and the one people, right, you know, shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger, right? You know, so the one people are what you call Jacob, right? You know, that would be Jacob, right? And then the other people were Esau, right? You know, so Esau then served Jacob. Was that how it goes? Yeah. Yeah, that's how it went, you know, because I always get that one flipped up. The elder shall serve the younger, right? Because the elder, you know, who gave up the porridge, you know, he's like, I'm gonna give up my birthright for some food, man, right? You know, so that's what happened. You know, that's what happened, right? You know, so now, you know, when you hear these people talk and then they go blah 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 title blah blah blah, it's like, dude, man, like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you know, all of you are little G's, all of you are children of God, right? You know, and then because you don't know what's up, right, you guys are always going to be bickering amongst each other, right? And then you're gonna, I lost, what happened? Let me get that back. Okay, yeah. All right, there we go. Boom. Okay. You know, so you guys are always going to be bickering amongst each other because you guys don't know where your words come from, man. You know, I mean, like, that's why we have the Bible. You know, we have the Bible, and then that's why Christ said, behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book, right? You know, so you don't mix up the words in the book. You have to know what the words mean in the book, and then you're going to be free, right? You know, so this is what we liked with that one right here, right? You know, so let me show you what's up, right? Boom. Okay, boom. I'm going to put these in there too. You see that? Boom, screenshot, but I'm gonna have that on the side right there, right? You know, so what we did was we did our genealogy. We did our genealogy because, you know, the 1611, hold on, let me take a sip, right? Milk and honey, I love it. How are we doing on time? We're okay. Okay, so, you know, so we did the genealogy. We did ours, you know, through the Holy Bible, because that's what Christ told us to do, right? So then we love the 1611, right? You know, so let me show you this one too, right here. Look at this one, right? Boom, you see that? That artwork, I mean, just the way that the words are written, it's just beautiful, right? And then because I'm called one of those moderns, right? You know, so sometimes when I read these, the letters don't match. They don't match in my mind. So then I have to think about it and then I have to change them, right? You know, but this one says, to the Most High and Mighty, right? You know, Prince James or James, by the grace of God, King of Britain, France, Ireland, defender of the faith, and something else, right? You know, so then it says, the translator of the Bible, with grace, mercy, and peace through Jesus Christ, our Lord. All right. You know, so they already know what's up right there. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to show you another bit right here. Right. Boom. Here, let me pull this one up. You see that? Right there. Boom. It says the genealogies, right? You know, so everybody's big on genealogy right now because they like hop on ancestor.com and they're like, I want to see where my family comes from. I'm showing you where the family comes from right now, man. This is where all men, all women, all children, all the people that are all wandering around the world, you know, that are walking and looking like me and looking like other people, whatever. If you can breathe, right? If you got that spirit, you're one of the people. Okay. So this is where your genes come from. Seriously, right? The genealogy of Holy Scriptures, right? You know, to the Christian reader, right? Here, let me maximize this because this writing is just like hard, right? The Spirit of God in the sacred history hath laid down such helps as are the light and life of all nations originals, right? Let me read that again. The Spirit of God in the sacred history hath laid down such helps as are the light and life of all nations originals. Okay, so now we're going to find out what's up with the originals of the nations, right? You know, so now, boom, this is what we did. Right, so here, let me show you. I'm just probably going to just do this one right here. Right, you see that? Boom. Okay, so I'm always going back to the root because the root's just simple for me, right? So I'm always saying God, right? God's on top because God created man, woman, child, the people, right? And it says it right here, God, right? And then it says God, and then it's got Adam, and then it's got Eve, right? And then it's even telling you markers in the book. It's telling you where Adam and then Eve, popped off in, right? So you got Adam and then you got Eve, right? And then they hooked up, right? And then they had Cain, Abel, and Seth, right? And then all of those had little offspring, right? But then you track it all the way down, because you had Cain's branch, right? And then you had Seth's branch, right? Because remember, Abel said, Cain, wiped out Abel, right? Not a cool brother, man, right? So then that's what happened there, right? So Seth has his branch, right? And then if you track Seth all the way down, you're going to get to Noah, right? So once you get to Noah, you're going to know what's up, right? So when Noah means rest, right? So once you get to Noah, you're going to know what's up, because then you're going to see a tree right there, right? Here, let me pull this one up, right? See, look at that, right? You see those 3 bubbles, right? Boom. All right, so those 3 bubbles right there, that's the bloodline, right? You got Japheth, you have Sem, which is Shem, right? And you have Ham or Ham, right? Because that whole other branch on the other side, Cain's branch, they got wiped out by the flood, man. So when the flood popped off, right, there was a whole branch of the people that were the descendants of Adam and Eve, right? Cain's branch, right? Cain's branch, boom, they had to go bye-bye, right? They just had to go bye-bye because they weren't following what God said to do, right? And then you had Seth's side, right? And then on Seth's side, is where you get everyone else, right? So it's like when you hear the people say, I'm this or I'm that, and I'm a title, it's like, yo, we're all descendants of God. Fact, man. So I'm showing you the genealogy. You can track it all the way back to God, and then God's going to show you Adam and Eve, right? And then boom, you can see where all of their children have come from, and then where they all have branched out to into the world, man. We're everywhere, right? So that's why I'm saying, this one's for God's children, man. It's like seriously, you got to stop, right? You got to stop focusing on titles, man. Like, if you just know that you're a child of God, right? We're all brothers and we're all sisters, right? We're all brothers and we're all sisters, right? And we're just walking out here trying to have an experience, trying to have a good time, trying to follow the law, right? And then the law is love, man, right? And when you just love, that means to care, right? And it's really easy because you can see that we all come from the same, man. We all come from God, right? Seriously, we all come from God, right? So I think I'm going to just show one more, and I'm just going to be done because I love the way that this one looks right here. This is beautiful art. Okay, check this out. Boom, you see that? Right, so there goes the ark, right? And then there's a branch, all of those folks right there, right? So when you look at that, it reminds me of a brain. It looks like it's a brain, right? You have the brain, and then there's a stem, and then the stem is linked to the ark, right? The ark and then the vessel where all the people came from, and then they all came from Noah, right? They all came from Noah, right? Which means rest, right? So once you know the descendants of Noah, and once you know that, hey, man, we all come from Noah, right? Every one of us is, a descendant of Noah, right? And then you're just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because it's like, Noah had that ark, boom, all of us got on that ark. We're all the same, we're all fam, right? Because Noah comes from Shem or Seth, right? And then boom, you track it all the way down, and it's just like, you got brother, sister, and then we're all the same, man. Just because we have different skin tones, and just because we look different on the outside, that doesn't mean that we're not brothers and we're not sisters, man. So this is one of the things that it's just been interesting just to watch, right? Is because that there's an adversary, right? There is an adversary out there, and the adversary is the one that wants to keep us divided, right? We have to be one people, right? So when we're one people, we're doing what God said we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be in love, right? But if you know that there's groups of people out there that are always trying to divide you, right? That's the adversary. Seriously, that's the adversary, right? So if you try to divide yourself by title, right? you're working for the adversary. Simple, right? We're one people. Right? We're all God's people, right? And then we have one church, and it's the Church of Christ. Seriously, that's just how it goes, man. It's churches of Christ, right? Churches of Christ, right? Because that was the covenant, that was the agreement, right? So now it's kind of simple, right? Because the rules are simple because it's written in the book, right? So 16:1:1, King James wrote the book. Why? So that the normal people of the English-speaking world, I speak English, right? That's the language I speak, right? I don't speak Aramaic. I don't speak Greek, right? Those are languages I don't speak. I can look up those words and I can see, oh, does that mean what they're supposed to mean, right? But I don't speak those language. That's not what I was born with, right? So that's just it, man. That's it. So I also know this right here, right? It's that when I was a little pup, when I came out of the birth canal, right, they circumcised me, right? Which means that I come from the tribe of Jacob, that's where I come from, because that's how it goes, man, because Abraham, right? Abraham, and then Isaac, 8 years. Or not 8 years, but 8 days, right? 8 days. Yeah, that's how old they were, right? 8 days of age, right? Was that how it went? Yeah. Isaac was born, right? And then Isaac's whole crew, they started getting circumcised, 8 days after, right? And then my brother's side, the other crew, they get circumcised at 13, right? So all the folks out there, all the little boys, they get circumcised at 13 years old, we're still family, man. We're still family. Like you don't have to get upset. You don't have to get upset and things like that, right? Because there was a covenant, and then the covenant was hooked up with Isaac, right? And then Isaac's his whole crew, that whole crew, right? So all the little people out there, that if you're getting snip, at birth, and around that age, right, you're walking under a certain tribe, right, and that tribe happens to be the tribe of Jacob, Jacob's tribe, right, so Jacob's tribe are the ones that all get circumcised around 8 days, right, and then you got Ishmael's tribe, and their tribe gets circumcised at 13 years age, man. That's it. We're still brothers. And we're still sisters, right? But that's just how because you can see what they do to our flesh, man. It's like how they do our flesh, which we didn't have a choice, right? None of us had a choice because we were birthed. We came down in the vessel. We have a choice on who we follow, once you can see, once you get the eyes and the ears and you can see, who you can follow, right? But then it's like none of us had a choice of what they did to our flesh, right? So like I didn't have a choice, because they just said, oh, I'm just gonna, take that foreskin off of you, little boy. And I was like, I don't know what's going on right now because I wasn't aware, right? But then I didn't know that was a covenant. That was what God said that you're supposed to do, right? So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I didn't have anybody to tell me that, right? No one told me that was because that was a covenant that the tribe signed with God, right? And I was like, if I would have been told that when I was a young pup, I would have been cool, right? It's like, the other covenant goes with the ones that are at 13, right? It's like, that's just letting that's letting you know that you're part of a tribe, man. You're part of a tribe and it's one people, right? It's like, whatever, man. It's scary simple, right? So like when you see these people, tell these other people that they can't speak anymore, right? Because they're saying things that are anti this or anti that. And then, it's like, well, I'm showing you what the track is on the path, man. The word Jew literally means celebrated, right? The word Jacob, means heal, right? So that's what it means, man. Hebrew means, from the other side, Israelite, that's the same for Hebrew, right? And then Jew, so celebrated, right? So, they're all meaning the same thing, but they're all just, children of God. Done, right? That's it. I just wanted to put that down. I wanted to put that track down. We're doing okay on time, because it's like my mind was thinking about it and I was just like, like the children, they don't know what's up, right? They obviously don't know what's up because they don't read, right? They don't read the book, right? They don't do what Christ said to do. They don't do what it said in Revelations 2:7, 22 verse 7, right? Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book, right? That's that's all we do now, right? We got our root, we got our code, right? We know where our love comes from. It comes from the Bible, right? And then that's just what God told us to do now, man. So that's all we do, right? We got God, we got Christ, we got Holy Ghost. That's our squad. We're cool. We're set, right? We don't have to worry about titles. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Like, we don't have to say, I'm this or I'm that. I'm just a child of God, man. Simple. I'm a child of God. I follow Christ. Holy Ghost is my comforter. I'm done, man. Okay, so I'm going to put this together, right? Then I'm going to upload it and I'm going to just see how it flows, man, because, I just wanted to put these tracks down because I wanted to have the words exist in this form. So then that way you can see all of these words that everybody is all divided for, which they shouldn't be divided for, right? And then if you know that people divide you, that's your adversary, right? So if anyone tries to divide you by title, that is an adversary. Seriously, that is an adversary. Because we're all one people, right? We all come from God. Done, right? We're all little G's. Done. Okay? We're all brothers. We're all sisters. Done. All right? That's it. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.